All right, it is Wednesday, and I was looking for something to watch that was different that I hadn't seen to talk about. And sure enough, Shudder came through for me with something I've actually been wanting to see, but didn't have a chance to, and that's Kids versus Aliens, streaming for on Shudder if you have that service. Um, it's from the director of Hobo with a Shotgun and Turbo Kid, segment of ABCs of Death and VHS series. This is actually a spin off of the short from their VHS segment. I'm never a huge fan of the VHS series. I feel like they're more miss than hit for me. But this movie comes in the wave of like the Turbo Kid, Hobo the Shotgun, Psycho Gorman, those type of films that have that kind of 80s aesthetic to them, that kind of play with genres a little bit. Whereas something like Hobo with a Shotgun, which got its start from the movie Grindhouse in 2007, the director was the winner of the fake trailer contest, and it got spun off into a full feature with Rutger Hauer. I should probably talk about that movie sometime. It's pretty awesome. And Turbo Kid, which I covered for this channel before, uh, those hit the notes perfectly. They know what they are. They know what they're trying to be, and they don't wink and nod at the camera like something like a Kung Fury does. Unfortunately, Kids vs Aliens, while it does have a lot of stuff that I like in it, it just kind of feels like the greatest hits. It doesn't feel like there's a heart to it, like something like Turbo Kid had with Apple. There's not an earnestness to it. The movie basically revolves around a group of kids, like they're kind of reminding me of my friends when we were little, like making backyard movies. They are. It is pretty funny what they're doing. Like they're fighting dinosaur soldiers and wrestling and robots and all this kind of shit, and it's all backyard handmade stuff. So it's funny. I like that whole part of it, but the kids feel too much like the little girl in Psycho Gorman, where they're too overwritten and they don't feel like actual kids. Kind of the main standout is the sister who reminds me a lot of the girl who's the lead in Terrifier 2, where she's really into a specific character and cosplay and stuff like that. The kids are making their movie, and the brother falls off a ladder and breaks his arm, and the parents are going away, and they leave the sister to be babysitting. So it's got a little bit of like The Gate almost, which is another Canadian horror film. And at the same time, a ship of some sort crashed in the waters outside of their house. They live in like a lakefront kind of area in Canada. And so it's got a lot of the elements of The Gate. It's got a lot of elements of like 80s nostalgia in it. Like later on in the movie, she essentially finds the Sword of Omens from Thundercats, and they put one of the kids under what looks like the slime pit from Masters of the Universe. The sister falls for the bully, who feels like he could be right at home with the two crazy brothers in Hobo the Shotgun. And there's just a lot of like, the aliens who show up at the party because the boyfriend convinces the sister to throw a big party, and they start fucking up the house, and he's an asshole. He's pissing all over her wall upstairs, and the brother films it because he's mad because the sister stopped playing with him basically. But they have like the kids who hang out with the bullies say stuff like, we like to get fucked up and do fucked up shit, like from House of a Thousand Corpses, or Are We Gonna Party, like Return of the Living Dead. The alien ship runs on human flesh, like in Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. There isn't. It takes too long to get to the kids versus aliens part of it, and I guess that's the biggest thing. You have all this setup, but I don't really feel connected to the characters like I did with all the setup that they had for Turbo Kid, or even the other movie that they had done, Summer of '84. Everything sort of is inspired now by Stranger Things almost. Like kids can't have a Goonies or like adventure anymore without being directly connected to a Stranger Things, like Ghostbusters. The movie's got great colors in it, lots of slime. Like I said, the kid being put under the He-Man slime pit thing was kind of cool. The aliens turn like the one kid at the costume party into like hockey playing ninja alien creature with like Wolverine claws. There are some neat stuff in it. It just takes way too long to get there, and there isn't enough buildup of the characters to really make me invested in really anybody but the sister. Because even with the sister, like when she's kind of under the sway of the bully, she's kind of a piece of shit, you know. So I don't know. I really wanted to dig it once it gets into the kids versus aliens stuff. Like with the last 20 minutes, the sister takes her scuba gear and goes underwater to the ship, and then she kind of fights off the aliens, and then that's when you get a lot of the greatest hit stuff, where like there's a lot of kills that remind me straight out of Turbo Kid with practical effects. Um, I don't know. It just seems like you could have got the trailer kind of sells this as like kids protecting their neighborhood, sort of like that. Was it Neighborhood Watch, which was like Ben Stiller and the dude from the IT Crowd or something like that versus like and fucking Vince Vaughn versus aliens. Like I thought it was going to be the parents are away, the kids have to protect the neighborhood from these aliens that are like kidnapping people and shit. But instead, it turned into like, you know, everything happens in the ship in the last 20 minutes, and then a good portion of it isn't even focused on the aliens, focused on the bully boyfriend dude who's turned into a complete and total fucking psycho. Um, I don't know. It just, again, like I said, it just felt like just playing the hits again, just reverting back to the things that worked in the director's other films, and then being too self-aware with its references. Whereas in the other one, that's references, you know, in Turbo Kid, it's references to Mad Max or anything like that. Like they felt part of that world. In this one, it feels a little bit more like Kung Fury, where it's a stop, wink, and nod at the camera kind of thing to do what it is. But I mean, if that's what you came to see, you know, the aliens are fine. There's not much characterization to them. The idea that their ship runs on human skin just kind of happens. There's no like build up to it. Again, this is where I would have liked to have seen something where, you know, over time we're starting to find, you know, dogs or cats or whatever without their skin, and then people, and that's where the kids are putting it together, and maybe nobody believes them. So it's again a little bit like the Summer of '84 movie. But I don't know. It does make me happy though to see movies about kids making movies kind of the way I did when I was young with my parents' video camera, like making stupid costumes and, you know, blowing stuff up and with fireworks, which they do at the end of this one. So that kind of stuff is fun. Kids don't go outside and play anymore, and I'm 41 years old and I'm still fucking making stupid movies with my friends and with, you know, blowing stuff up and wearing stupid costumes. So that part I liked. I loved, you know, the slime and the color palette of the movie was great. That's such a great title, Kids versus Aliens. I don't know. I just expected a little bit more out of it, I guess. And I like this director a lot, so I don't want to shit on it too bad. Because there definitely were entertaining parts. There definitely are lines in it that I thought were great. I thought that the actress who plays the sister was really good. She did it. She did a great job carrying the emotional weight. It just took too long to get there. And then you have like the standard like shitty parents, and they kind of reminded me a little bit of the dad in Psycho Gorman. So you could see where a lot was taken from that. But I guess when it comes to the VHS series, there aren't many of the segments that you could turn into a feature. So the abduction at a slumber party one is where this came from. So it's fine. It's short too. It's like an hour and barely any change. So it gets you in, it gets you out, and there is a kinetic energy to it. It just takes a long time to get there, and it just feels like a lot of stuff that we've seen already. But I'm always up for checking out whatever Shudder does. You know, it's always pretty cool. This one, I believe, was co-produced by Brad Miska as well from BloodyDisgusting.com, which is a website that I read every day because I like to stay up on what's out horror movie-wise and shit. Yeah, that's it. Kids versus Aliens. Just gives me hope if it's popular that, you know, New Village Video is making Mars vs. Cheerleaders right now, which I wrote. So I'm excited that maybe we can follow that wave. That's shooting in Phoenix pretty soon. And that'll have a backyard aesthetic as well, you know, because that's kind of how I wrote it. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you thought. What would be a good versus aliens movie? Because I'm sure, you know, it's all been done. Zombies versus Aliens, MILFs versus Zombies is a movie. Bigfoot versus Zombies. Not as much Aliens. Aliens versus Predator. I think I reviewed that once on another channel. All right, guys, that's it. I needed something quick to talk about today to have a video up because I've been working since taking over as the district manager for Real Cinemas. I've been between three buildings, and kids were off school, so I put in 80 hours. Yeah, I put in 120 hours in 2 weeks. So as you can see, I haven't shaved. I haven't slept, and I'm moving, so I'm starting to get all my shit out of my house and into a new place. But yeah, no aliens, no kids, just a cat and a dude sitting alone in a movie theater. See you next week.